Let's go over our first example. We define the function 4 over 3x plus 4 for any value that it's in between -6 and 0, not including the -6 and not including the 0. And x plus 5 for whenever our x is in between 0 and 4, inclusive, including the 4 and including the 0. So let's start with f of -3. In which interval does it land? It lands on this interval. -3 is in between -6 and 0, which means I'm going to substitute my -3 using the function 4/3 x plus 4. 4 over 3 times -3 plus 4. This is -3 divided by 3 is -1. This is -1 times 4, -4 plus 4 equals 0. That's my answer for f of -3. Now let's do f of 3. F of 3, which interval does it land on? It lands in between 0 and +4. So I'm going to use the function x plus 5. It's going to be 3 plus 5, and that's equal to 8. That's f of 3. F of 0. Notice how these symbols matter. Where in my function, in this one or this one lands the 0. This is exclusive symbol. S has to be strictly less than 0. And in this case, my x is greater or equal to. This equal to means that my 0 is included on this interval. And this is the function that I'm going to be using. I'll have 0 plus 5, which is just 5. Now let's do f of 4. In which interval does 4 land? On the second interval from 0 to +4, inclusive. So I will use the function x plus 5. 4 plus 5 equals 9. Our previous to last question is find f of -6. It's easy to make this mistake. -6 is right here on my first interval, but this is strictly less than, or x is greater than, x is greater than -6, not greater than or equal to. If I had an equal to here, then it would include the -6, but it doesn't. Remember, these are associated with parentheses. That means this interval is from -6 to 0. It does not touch the 6, which means I cannot find f of -6. I don't have enough information. This means my f of 6 is undefined. I don't have information to define what f of -6 is. And finally, our last example, f of 1. In which interval does 1 land? On the second interval from 0 to 4. And after I substitute it, it's going to be 1 plus 5, which is 6. This is our first example on finding, values, or finding the values of the function f for piecewise functions.